Universe, it's Binge Movies episode. I don't know what this is. It's a live stream on the internet, I think. As we've previously done this before, it seemed as if we were live, Pete, and we weren't. And then we did it for an hour, and then we had to do it again.
It was like 40 minutes.
That's an hour in my time. That's an hour in streaming to absolutely no one. Yeah. Just floundering already, I guess. I'm downcast.
You're downcast. Why is that?
I am really sad because I don't want to give it away. But
you're in a somber mood.
Yeah, I we're gonna do the results of the last movie standing, Spring Blast, aka Spring Vengeance. And I didn't get my vengeance.
Yeah, well, you live some, you lose some.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Oh, son of a bitch!
I died by the sword.
Jason's got drops now.
And I went into it. I thought that I was prepared and gunning, and this was Heather's review of my performance. That was her review of both of our performances. She said that Paul from the Countdown, who's basically retired from podcasting, not only did I get whipped by a retiree who's, in basically AARP podcasting levels.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I show up, and it's just a bunch of...
Yeah, well,
I sucked at it, Pete. I sucked.
You did valiant.
I sucked, according to Heather, and this is what it sounded like when I sucked.
God, what's happening?
It's getting faster and faster. I was going down bad. I was down bad. Okay. And when I saw those votes start rolling in, Pete, I'm not gonna let you talk. Fuck it. But I saw those votes start rolling in, and I started seeing Patreon go the way that it went. That's what fucking happened to me.
Well, am I saying
that's why I'm down, Pete?
Am I saying that if I was there fighting against Paul, that we'd have a different outcome? No, I'm not saying that. I think the chat can decide for themselves. But I still think you fought valiantly. Paul is a worthy adversary. Heather is concerned about your drops.
What about them? They're perfectly normal.
That noise always slightly unnerves her when doing podcasts.
Which one? Which of the several noises?
I don't think it's that one.
I'm gonna need you to read the chat because I got too many fucking windows open here, Pete.
Yeah, I gotcha. Heather loves this drop though.
Hark! Triton!
Yeah,
that's right. She says, "Oh yeah, it is the weird guttural thing."
Yeah.
Heather also says you were both blinded by weird rage.
Who's that? Who is blinded by
me and Paul?
Me and Paul?
Yeah. I think your your senses aren't about you when Paul's around. It's like he's got this. You're like a pit bull, and he's like a 3-year-old child running loose. You're
running for his life.
Yeah, your sights are set.
Yeah, he's running for his life. My sights are set, and I thought I did amazing.
Yeah, man.
And nope. This is top tier podcasting.
This is it. This is pretty much, I feel like I'm on my own show, but I don't have to hit the button.
I'm trying to make you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, can you do more farts, please? Thank you.
There you go.
Joseph will love
What's
that.
your fart quota over there at middle class film class?
You know, I'm actually anti-fart on the show. Joseph got rain. It's fine on your show, man. You can do
I
whatever
see.
you
Yeah,
want. I
I
mean,
see.
you're talking about goon maxing and
I'm not talking about it. You're living it.
you're about that life. I am that life.
No, you're about that life. You're the one that's constantly. You're the one who came on this show and talked about edging for the first time. You broke the seal on edging, which is ironic considering what edging is.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all about not breaking the seal.
It's the art of not breaking the seal.
It's the art of not breaking the seal. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And you
the
didn't even
intent.
need a ghostwriter for that book.
No,
It's just your face, the art of not breaking the seal.
Yeah.
Pete, stroking, edge master. How do you say your last name?
A beta, like a beta fish.
Oh man,
Alpha beta.
I've been telling
Bravo.
people it's Abieta for 2 years now.
I'll answer to that. I've heard that many times.
Yeah.
Abita, Abuda, Abieta.
Carbonara.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll also answer to Paul, which is weird when Peter, Paul,
Yeah.
Pedro. My dad's name is Pedro, so I go by
Yeah.
Pedro a lot.
Well, I have no problem calling you Paul. In fact, speaking of Paul, well, let's make it official. Let's just go ahead and do the fucking thing. Let's open up the vault. And let's put with 58% of the fucking vote.
58.
Oh, trounced.
That's close, man.
No, I've never lost by that much.
Those
ever.
are hanging chads right there.
Yeah. Well, Paul
Hanging
did vote for himself.
Yeah.
So he said you could take my vote away, and because if it's not legal, and it's not legal, but I was too lazy to figure out where he voted. So, I do want to say that I do feel like, well, I don't want to disparage Paul. I don't like to play those kind of games.
Right.
I want to be as supportive of my friend in these final hours of his life as I possibly can be. Life as a podcaster. He'll continue living, but are you really living if you're not podcasting? Are you, Pete, are you having thoughts if people aren't forced to listen to him?
Yeah. If a podcaster is streaming in the woods and no one's there to listen, is he really white?
We're testing a theory right now, brother. Ain't nobody out here. Ain't nobody listening. Podcasting is the one thing. It is both delusional and pathetic at the same time. It's delusional because you think that people give a shit what you have to say, and it is pathetic because you pay money so that people hear you. You pay more than a few cups of coffee a month just to get the fucking feed out there. Not even for the equipment, and then you do shit like this, and then they're like, "Oh, that costs extra money. It's streaming." Okay, well, I better pay for that. I gotta grow my audience. And for what? What are we doing this for?
I think it's fun.
No.
I do it for the drops, for the memes.
You do it for the memes?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
No, I feel like podcasting is the modern version of like blogging.
Oh, 100%.
You have Blogspot where you could go in and be like, hey, this is what my baby took its first steps today, and you have like the 5 people that subscribe to it.
That's right.
But you treat it continually like it's I don't know, your hot soup, your Julia and Julia, doing the Julia Child.
Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
What the hell is this?
Video, I will give you the.
I don't want this, kid. I want this. This is live video footage of Paul's people.
Yeah, for real.
This is how they live over there.
Hello everybody, welcome to
Not
my
like
channel.
that. Like this.
You
They
just
live.
loop that.
They live like this, and they laugh at us. The 1 year that breakdancing is going to be in the Olympics, they show up and they make a mockery of it.
Hello
That's
everybody,
what his.
welcome to my channel.
That's what his
Totally
people. That's what his people do, and
Well,
they
they don't-
and I think Paul's made a mockery of Last Movie Standing, and you know how he did it? By beating me.
You were bitten by your own snake, Jason.
I was hoisted by my own petard.
That's right.
So
I don't know what a petard is, but I agree.
I don't know, but I was hoisted by it. So let's put it in. Let's go ahead and add it to the vault. The people spoke. I can't be too crestfallen in all actuality because this is a fine film. Does it rank up there with Apocalypse Now? Not in my book, but I didn't argue the case strong enough. So I laid a wet fart. And it has been eliminated from cinematic history. Sorry, Francis Ford Coppola. Hopefully Megalopolis has a chance.
That or Jack, maybe.
Yeah. There's farts in Jack. A lot of farts. So
can I?
No, wait. We have to make it official. You ready?
Go ahead.
Initiating vault sequence. Neutralizing grid. Quantum field stable. The next entry into the vault is Batman Begins.
Now, I do have a little thing here that Paul sent in.
Great.
Paul from the Countdown. And so I'm going to go ahead and just play that. I have not had a chance to listen to this. He said he recorded it while he was out for dinner. Just real quick, I asked him, do you have anything you want to say? And this is what he sent in. So I haven't listened to it yet, but this is what he wanted me. This is what he wanted me to play.
Just a moment, you just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
I'm under what?
Sounds
Gentlemen,
like maybe being
this
arrested.
is Democracy Manifest.
It is democracy.
Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis!
Sounds like
This is the bloke who got me on the penis before.
Get some cups.
Why did you do this to me?
Hop in the car. Get some cups.
For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Good one. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? How dare get your hands off there. Ta-ta and farewell.
Well, hang on. I think that's enough of that. I am so sorry to everybody who's watching or listening to this or watching it later on. I think Paul seemed to be in distress there. Wouldn't you say, Pete?
I love his cadence, though.
Well, he has a very regal way of speaking.
It's luxury.
Yeah. His
Vote for Batman. Batman returns.
Batman Begins. Yeah.
Oh, Begins.
Yeah, I can't roll my R's, but the way he said it was Democracy Manifest. And that's really what Binge Movies is all about, folks. It's about preserving democracy when it comes to film. It's not my canon, it's the people's canon. And I'm not entitled to the right. I'm not a movie fascist. I just manage a video store. And so if you all vote for a movie to go into the vault, it's got to go in. And if that means I'm a giant loser who has no reason to live, that's what it means. And I want to play a clip about how I feel about it. This is all of you, Clean Pete, laughing at me. You're laughing and lurking, celebrating. Trumpets are going off. Paul's getting arrested at a Chinese restaurant down under, talking about giving me his limp penis for some reason. Makes me uncomfortable. Everybody's dancing around. It's like Return of the Jedi. Pete's an Ewok. Look at him. He's a little guy. He's dancing around.
Very funny.
Yub Jub. He's Yub Jubbing over there.
Cedric. He asked me to
and that's me talking.
I couldn't leave.
I'm two different people here. I'm
It's all right.
Here's my I'm crying.
Keep everybody in their seats.
I'm crying.
That's Todd.
Heather's trying to comfort me. Todd's dead. Heather's trying to comfort me. It's gonna be all right. Get over yourself. It's okay.
Let me through.
And then here's me. Here's really me. This is me.
That's my son. This is my boy.
That's me looking at Francis Ford Coppola. That's me looking at Apocalypse Now.
Easy. Easy. This is not where you want to be right now.
No.
It's all right.
And Heather's like, come on.
A-tier line read.
Yeah. Oh, it's, oh, no, my boy.
I thought that's when you reach the edge of the ending of your edge session.
You're trumping me now. No, wait, you're pulling a Trump here. You're flipping it around. You're clearly the edger. You're the one who introduced the concept, and now you're like, oh, with all your edging. I didn't even know what it was until you showed me.
There's two people in this world: people who edge and people who lie about edging.
There's people who goon and people who lie about gooning.
That's right.
That's right.
We're all freaks deep down.
We all are freaks down here. Well, I wanna lighten up the mood a little bit, Peter. You okay with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get into something good, Pete. It feels so good to me to put that horrible performance behind it. Yeah. It's meant to be.
I know you've had your doubts many times before.
Oh, yeah.
Just throw your fears away and get out on the floor.
Take your clothes off, Pete. Come on.
Let me take you by the hand.
By the way.
Girl, I wish you would. Looks like we're on our way. Looks like we're into something good.
Yeah.
And it feels so good to me. Into something good.
You wearing pants, Pete?
Barely.
This was meant to be.
Okay. All right. It's time to get into the draft. Pete, you got the randomizer up?
Let me get my list here.
I guess while you're doing that, I can actually start. I can show you the current standings
Yes, please.
of where we're at for as of the last round, the points for the last round, and the overall standings for the Binge Movies draft, which is pretty darn exciting. All right. So as of round 2, the winner of round 2 is Brian Scuttle, coming in second place. Where Brian had 26 points, I should say. He got an extra bonus because his movie made it not just into Last Movie Stand, but made it into the vault. So that Claire is in second place with 15 for the season. 3 is Brad, aka 2B Tuesday, aka Old Man Brad. David P, who is probably asleep right now or at work, had 13 points. Corey, 11 points. Paul, speaking of my nemesis, 11 points. Dan, Binge Lord Dan, 11 points. Nerdrovert, aka Jason, aka Seen That Reviews, 10 points. Heather is 9th place with 9 points for the season. Ham Slime, one of your folks, is in 10th place with 9 points. Joe Butts is in 11th place, 9 points. Julio had 7 points. Brett from Dissect That Film had 7 points. Giuseppe had 5 points. And Megan Kearns from Spoiler Piece Theater and the Slashers had 5 points. Overall, that means our current ranking is as follows. In the top 3 position is Brian, beating David, who had a definitive lead. He was the leader of the pack. He blew everybody else out of the water in the last season in round 1. But in round 2, Brian flipped the script. It's with 50 points. He's 2 points ahead of David, who has 48. Claire's in 3rd place with 32 points. Ham Slime coming in at 4th with 27 points. Corey with 21 points is in 5th place. Megan, despite her abysmal finish in the last round, she got stuck with a really bad movie, is in 6th place. Nerdrovert is in 7th place with 20 points overall. Paul is in 8th place with 19 points, just falling ass backwards, in my opinion. Brad is in 9th place with 18 points. Joe Butts is in 10th place with 16 points. Heather is letting her heart lead the way, and that has led her to 11th place with 14 points. Giuseppe is in 12th place with 13 points. Dan is in 13th place with 12 points. And coming in the 2 last slots are Brett with 11 and Julio with 10. And all I have to say to Julio is, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Last place overall, Julio is a loser. So let's move on to round 3. My goodness.
All
right. So let's see. Here are, I'll just run through the films real quick and their point value without bonus points, obviously. So top 5 movies for this season based on points. And remember, this is based on Rotten Tomatoes score, IMDb score, box office, critical praise, Academy Awards, Golden Globes, New York Film Critics Circle, and I think maybe one more. And so I try to create a balanced point system to where, blockbusters weren't going to be blown out of the water by awards fair, and awards fair wasn't going to be blown out of the water by blockbuster. So it's kind of equal, and you can kind of see how the season is played out there, Pete, that's actually kind of how it's worked out. People have picked maybe not necessarily the best movies are still in the hunt. People have picked the best movies, but maybe not the most box office movies are still in the hunt. So I didn't know if it was going to work, but I tried my best, and it seems to be working.
It's a very balanced system. I got to give you big credit for it, because I was kind of thinking at the beginning of the season, it's just going to be a blowout for the people who are getting first picks, but you never know where the chips are going to fall.
You absolutely never know. And then there's also those bonus points, those multipliers that get it added on. As a degenerate gambler, Pete, you know about parlays and all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so that's how it works, if I select a movie, it goes on to the short list or guest list, or if my guest picks one, that gives it a +5. If it makes it to the end of the season and the last movie standing, the final 2 gets a +10. And if it goes into the vault, it gets a +20. So that's pretty exciting. Coming at number 1 is Jaws. We've got a Steven Spielberg episode coming up I'm excited about. So that's with B. Dizzle from We Watched a Thing, who is now the Grand Pumbaa of Potty Mouth Radio, which is a podcast network.
Oh, really?
From Australia. He's one of the few Australians who actually can breakdance. People don't know that about
cool.
him. Yeah. So Jaws is 25 points. That's obviously the number 1 overall, but tied with it is E.T., which also currently has 25 points. Again, this is without bonuses. This is just the base point value.
Stacked.
3 is Cars with 15 points. 4 is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. And let me assure you, that's almost all for box office with 14 points. Speaking of Australia, Happy Feet, George Miller's very strange animated feature, 13 base points. Casino Royale. The reinvention of James Bond comes at number 6 with 13 points. So it's kind of tied there with Happy Feet. We've got the original Beverly Hills Cop, which is going to be part of our season premiere, which is going to come out next Tuesday with Uncle Dave from Spoiler Piece Theater. And that is the Don Simpson episode. So kicking off officially VHS summer. And you may be thinking to yourself, dear viewer, listener, however I decided to disseminate this, isn't it a little late for summer? VHS summer starts when you press play. It doesn't end until you hit rewind.
Guess what I brought, Jason?
What's that?
I brought one of the only ways that you can possibly watch the original Star Wars
pre-Lucas
fucking.
Whoa!
From our pal Lindsay Wash.
She mailed that to you?
Yeah, she did. We were after the trivia tournament we did on my show.
How sweet is that?
We were talking about that. She goes, I got like 5 copies of that. I'll mail you one.
How sweet of dear Lindsay.
That was so cool.
Dear Lindsay, who last time we were on, you and I and her did something together. Oh, when you guys competed. And we got off and she said, I'm going to send you a video in the mail. I said, oh, that'd be great. Thanks, Lindsay. You don't have to do that, but I thank you so much. And do you know what she sent me?
What's that?
Nothing. Didn't get a goddamn thing.
To be fair, I bugged her like 3 times. I was like, yeah, not a big deal or anything.
Now the truth comes out. You're like, you did kind of promise me.
I did invite you onto my show and put on the trivia tournament. But hey, Heather's got a couple things she says. Number one, she says she wasn't sure if pants were required, so we still don't know if Heather's wearing pants.
It's all right.
But she also wants to know
You're free here.
Yeah, why Beverly Hills Cop is not number 5 because it's got 14 points. Is that the is that the what's it called?
Fuck. Oh fuck! I fucked up. Oh fuck!
Is that the dyslexia kicking in?
Yeah, maybe. It may have been the fact that I had to do this at midnight because my life is very full.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead and call it number 5.
It's just a guide, anyways.
Yeah, it's just a fucking guide. Yeah. So yeah, Beverly Hills Cop is I guess 5, and then 6 and 7 would be Happy Feet and Casino Royale. 8 is Crimson Tide, which is also 13. So we got a 3-way there, just like Pete likes them. Top Gun with 10 points, Color Purple with 9, Sugarland Express with 7, which rounds out the rest. No, I lied. There's one more Spielberg movie. Always forget about this one.
He did Da Vinci Code?
No.
I was like, what the fuck?
No, there's one more. You'll see it. Days of Thunder, which has 6 points, Dangerous Mind, which has 6 points, which is almost exclusively due to Julio. So thank you, Julio. Lady in White, which has 5 points, which comes from our forgotten films, the 1980s, 5 or 6. The Last Dragon, which is also going to be in the episode, which also only has 5 points, which I think is a travesty. 1941, that's the last of the Spielberg. 4 points. Have you ever seen 1941, Pete? Since you're not competing in the Binge Movies Challenge this year because you're weak. Have you seen that? I have
not. No, I've never even heard of that outside of the fact that it's a year.
You've never heard of Spielberg's 19... It's his immediate follow-up to Jaws.
Yeah, no. I only watched Jaws for the first time like 2 years ago.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It wasn't in my purview when I was a kid.
I'm going to ask you to do me a favor and just fire up 1941.
All right, like right now? I'll do okay.
Yeah, get going. See if you can find a VHS tape. But Heather's probably got 3 of them.
That's right.
Yeah. Heather has probably every single one of these movies.
Did
I skip over Da Vinci Code, Superman Returns, Mission Impossible 3, X3, Ice Age? I can't see the chat, but I'm sure Heather says that I did because I did.
No, I did see that. I was like, Da Vinci Code. What is that?
Yeah.
Heather she did say in the chat, she does have the same Star Wars set because of course she does.
Nice.
And she participates in our live stream most weekends, and anytime an obscure movie from the 70s or 80s or 90s pops up, she's like, I got that on VHS. And I've started beating her to it. I'm like, yeah, we talked about The Crush, Carrie Ellis and Alicia Silverstone.
Yes, that's
movie.
A very
love it. Have you seen The Boy Next Door, Jennifer Lopez movie?
I know of it. I haven't seen it.
They just put it on Netflix, and I watched it because I wanted some trash.
Yeah,
and it delivered. And it was on the same wavelength as The Crush or like Stepfather or something like that.
Oh, no, wait. The Stepfather is a different type of trash.
It's way dark. It's way darker, but
he's from what I remember, he is trying to fuck the woman he married, who was another 40-year-old person. And not he may get creepy with his daughter, but I don't remember him trying to hook up with 11-year-old Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, Elvis? Or
no. I'm talking about the Stepfather,
the guy that plays Uncle Frank before he gets turned into Uncle Frank in Hellraiser.
No, who are you talking about?
Isn't he the stepfather? The guy that plays?
No. The stepfather is John Locke, right, from Lost, who is, I know this guy's name. I've never even watched Lost. What the fuck? Character actor. I know his name. I can picture his face. You're going to say it. It's going to piss me off. And
Donald E. Westlake?
Terry
Quinn.
Terry O'Quinn is the stepfather.
What am I thinking of? The guy that plays the Scorpio killer in Dirty Harry.
I don't know. He's not in the Stepfather. I don't know what fuck movie you're watching.
Maybe Stepfather 2.
I think Terry O'Quinn's in Stepfather 2, but he might not be in Stepfather 3.
Andrew Robinson is who I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Andrew Robinson is the dad from Hellraiser.
Yeah, exactly. I could have sworn he was in a Stepfather type of movie.
He might have been in a type movie, but it's not the Stepfather.
Okay.
Yeah. And the dude from Nip Tuck is in that horrible remake they did of it. But yeah, so Stepfather is pretty good and doesn't involve underage sex. I went on a we're totally sidetracked here. I went on a Alicia Silverstone thriller bent because she did that one and she did another one, The Crush, and right around the same year. And it's about like her high school boyfriend. She's supposed to be babysitting, and JT Walsh, she's babysitting for JT Walsh, and JT Walsh is driving home to try to seduce her from a party because he keeps having fantasies about having sex with her instead of his wife, but she's obviously like a teenager and not interested. But her boyfriend in high school is also, who's like a little bit older than her, is also a creep. Does Heather know this one? I can't see the chat.
No, she's talking about I don't know what movie it was. She said on she has on VHS. Oh, The Babysitter.
That's it. Yeah. The Crush and the Babysitter. So the babysitter, she doesn't play a psychopath. She just plays a normal teenage person, and all the men around her are psychopaths, essentially. And then it ends very bleakly. It's a very bleak ending. And then, but yeah, so I watched like 3 or 4 of these in a row, and it was different at the time for me because she again was like slightly older than me. And so she was this aspirational. It was like watching Kelly Kapowski. She was this, pre-adolescent teen boy fantasy, right? Who was like kind of within reach.
Yeah.
I did that when we watched Clueless, because I went back and I got some context for her. Like, okay, what was her career before Clueless? And I'd seen all those movies, but a long time ago. But watching them as a now decrepit man, I just felt so bothered by them, and in particular The Crush. I felt so bothered by it because there's no reason you couldn't have cast a older woman who was like in college, like doing a reverse Lolita where the Lolita is the sociopath.
Yeah,
it's like one of those ideas that's good on paper, but when you actually have to involve a minor, trying to seduce a 50-year-old Carrie Elwes, it just is really fucking creepy as a grown man.
So I'll tell you the difference between that and The Boy Next Door is that they wrote that they removed that creep factor because the boy, who is a senior in high school, is 20 years old because his parents were killed in a car accident. I wonder how they died.
Oh, I see.
And he took 2 years off of school. So now he's 20 and he seduces her. And after one night of passion, she says, we shouldn't have done that. And he's like, yeah.
That's still kind of weird, though.
It is, for sure. But it's a little different because I remember the creepiness of The Crush.
Yeah.
And then I remember
great cover though.
The fantastic punch that he gives her on that carousel that somehow
he knocks out a child.
Yeah, it's like you hear
and then their dad comes in and is like, "Oh, Ashley," or whatever her name is. Because if you're a dad and you walk into your attic, which you've converted into a carnival,
he's just restoring this carousel up there piece by piece
for your own daughter. I don't know. And you see a grown man like shaking her and socking her in the face. You would, and like by that point, she's already set him up as a sex offender.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So people who are listening to this after the fact are like, what are the rest of the movies in the draft? So we can get back to it. So I skipped over 11 through 15. Da Vinci Code has 8 points. Superman Returns, which has 8 points. Mission Impossible 3 has 8 points. X3 has 7 points. Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, has 7 points. I'll go back through Sugarland Express at 16 with 7 points. Days of Thunder has 17 points. 6 points. Dangerous Mind has 6 points. Lady in White has 5 points. Last Dragon has 5 points. 1941, which Pete said he's going to watch for me soon, has 4 points. Whitewater Summer, I have a lot of thoughts about Whitewater Summer. They're going to be coming to you very soon. 4 points. Flashdance has 13 points. So actually it should be higher, but whatever. Night at the Museum, 7 points. And Wisdom with 3 points. All right. Let's randomize this.
All right.
And you tell me who is going to get, what player is going to get the number 1 all-time pick. And then if they're not here, which is 99% of the people, we'll have to do a randomized movie for them. We'll have to auto-draft them.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to spin the old generator here. And our first pick is number 6, which is Megan Kearns.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Do you like that? All right, Megan Kearns, who is not here as far as I can tell. What movie is Megan Kearns drafting number 1 overall?
Now, how many numbers do you have there?
There's 25 movies this time.
25. All right, let's do 25. All right, Megan Kearns gets number 19. Can you scroll down and see what that is?
Oh, fuck. Number 19 is Lady in White for 5 whole points at number 1. There we go. Boop, Lady in White, which comes to you from Binge Movies family section. Does it belong there? That'll be the topic of discussion on the episode with D.W. Lundberg from Nostalgia Cast, and you might have seen him on Twitter hating movies he's never seen.
You know what I love about Lundberg, and this is going to sound like an insult, but it's an absolute a compliment.
His hatred for things he's never watched.
He'll in a single day, I'll see him post like 3 posts, and I could hear his the jugular
rage
pulsing with the rage as he's typing angrily, and then he'll say, "Guys, we don't got to hate on things.
Can't we all just love movies?
You can just watch a movie and move on. You don't need to comment on my post, you know."
Now wait a minute here. Now, here's a movie I haven't seen, but a guy I know said he saw it, and he said that there's this line in that movie, and let me tell you why that grinds my gears. Yeah,
he's a phenomenal account to follow. I love.
I am saying nothing to him that I do not publicly say to him on Twitter, and more in private. I'm like, sometimes I just screenshot his tweets and DM them to him and go, "Come on, man."
Message it to him. I'm like,
like, come on. What are we doing here?
You just send him this picture where he's like,
That's honestly his response. Usually, it's just sort of like, busted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's so funny. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I love policing other people's opinions. It's great.
It just cracks me up because that's the driving force behind Twitter. If there was no D.W. Lundberg, Twitter would implode upon itself, and it would just be people saying, "Hey, I hope you all have a nice day today," and everyone says, "Yep, you too."
It's this wonderful cycle of rage bait where he sees something that is clearly rage bait, and then he rages about it. And then I rage about his rage, and we're all just caught up together.
You see, it's a circle. It never stops.
I don't actually rage. I just laugh, and I go, well, I got you now, boy. All right, who's number 2? Who's drafted second overall?
All right, number 2. Where is my list here? Okay, there's my list.
I get him on the episode as well, man. I get him good.
Number 2 is Joey Butts.
Joe Butts. Not much of a showing from Joe these days in the draft. He's kind of ate shit this first 2 rounds. Let's see if he can get his shit together for round 3 here with the second overall pick. And what movie is Joe going to be drafted?
He's getting number 13,
which is Mission Impossible 3, which has 8 points. Now, remember, this is not including bonus points and all that jazz. So I will have to, as the season goes along, I'll be adding some stuff here into our bonus point categories, and we'll go from there. So, all right, who's drafted number 3 overall? Joe is a regular host of Real Spoilers.
Real Spoilers, yeah. Just for clarification, Heather is here.
Yeah.
She doesn't get the pick. It has to be randomized, but she gets to actually choose her movie. That's the difference.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we have contestant number 4, which is
number 3.
No,
Megan
on the randomizer, I have your number 3, my number 4
gotcha.
Eric Holmes.
Ham Slime. What movie is Ham Slime getting?
Ham Slime gets a high number 6.
Ooh, number 6, which, wait a minute, there's a fuck up here, right? So it's either...
I'd play it where it lies.
You just give him Casino Royale then?
I would, yeah, because because otherwise you're going to restructure everything in the 21 through 26s too, because there's a couple.
Yeah.
There's a couple double-digit numbers.
Couple of fuck ups there.
We don't talk about that.
All right. Who's the next player?
All right, next up we have contestant number. Okay, we already did that person. The contestant number 13 is Binge Lord. Damn.
I love that reverb, man. All right. And what movie is Dan going to be drafting?
All right, he's getting number 15. Did we do 15 yet? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Maybe it's 16.
Nope, we haven't done 15. He gets
Ice Age 2.
to the Meltdown.
The perennial classic.
Yeah. It's not Ice Age 1, it's Ice Age 2. Oh, fuck, I got to find it.
Manny has to find a wife in this one, I think.
That's correct. Queen
Latifah.
Latifah.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
you're right. Look at you. You haven't seen Jaws, but you know Ice Age 2.
Bingo.
And you have a movie podcast. Isn't that special?
Heather says that my reverb gives a Big Jim Slade energy.
I don't know what that is.
That's from the Kentucky Fried Movie. Heather's pick from our we just reviewed it last week.
Nice.
Yes.
You know what it gives? It gives Sunday.
Yeah. Monster Jam.
Monster Jam.
Kids tickets are just $8.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah.
All right.
Come early for the tractor pull.
I love it. All right.
Who's next?
We have contestant number 8, your arch nemesis, Paul.
Paul from the counting down the mere hours he has left to live. How will he spend that? What movie should he be watching and what movie should he be drafting?
Ooh, the fate is not on his side. Number 23, Jim Carrey.
Oh, no.
That's actually
Flashdance, baby.
Good pick.
That's a good pick with 13 points because I fucked up the order. Flashdance. Whoa.
How does he do this? He can't keep getting away with this.
I can't keep getting away with this. You son of a bitch. All right, who's next?
All right, next up we have. Who is this? Tuesday.
I'm gonna throw a wrinkle. We're gonna get this all done, and I'm gonna throw a wrinkle into everything.
Okay,
just
cool.
wait. Just wait. All right. And what movie does I picked the wrong person. Brad get?
There you go. Brad gets number 10.
Number 10 is The Color Purple with 9 points.
All right, cool.
Have you seen The Color Purple, the original?
I have not. I'm aware of the color, just not the movie.
All right.
Should I see that or Harold and the Big Purple Crayon? Zachary Levi, Oprah Winfrey. I don't know.
That's a great question. Is it even on here? Did I forget to add it? I think I did forget to add it. All right. Well, I'll know. I'll go back get it.
Okay.
All right. Who's next?
Next up, we have Eric. Oh, sorry. Corey. I almost said Eric again.
Yeah. All right. What's my man Corey getting? What movie?
The homie's getting number 3.
Cars, baby. Boom. There it is. Cars. All right. Who's next?
Next up, we have. She already been picked. Who already been picked? Heather Sass.
All right, Heather. Yeah.
All right, and Heather's getting.
Right. Give Heather Jaws. No,
I didn't get that one.
I'm calling it Jaws. Jaws.
Oh shit!
What is it?
Number 1.
Are you shitting me?
I'm not shitting you.
Yeah, Jaws.
I had to stop for a second.
Wow, there we go. All right.
Yes, it's between Jaws. She said it's between Jaws and BHC. I don't know what BHC is. For reasons.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep.
And she says, "But Jaws, please."
Wow, look at that. It's gonna sound like there was like foul play there.
Yeah.
It was just a dream that I had. And the universe said, son, you've lost enough.
That's right.
Put that cross down.
It actually landed on number 3 first, which was Casino Royale, which has already been picked.
Yeah,
and
already
then number
selected.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are down to just a few people left. Have we given Claire? Is Claire on the board yet?
Nope. So we need to fill out 3 rounds worth here. So we got a chunk of people left. So
all right. Claire's getting.
Okay. All right. What is Claire getting?
Number 11.
That would be the Da Vinci Code, which is so fucking on brand. Wow. No offense, Claire. I love you.
All right. Next is number 15 is Julio.
Yeah, fucking Julio and his fucking Manimal. He's on this. He ran a Manimal movie.
Manimal.
Yeah. Ask Heather. She'll school you about Manimal.
All right. Julio gets number 14.
All right. 14 is X3, which he should be happy about because I think he likes that movie. And I don't. Spoilers.
Chosen. Who do we have left? We got Giuseppe, number 12.
All right.
And Giuseppe gets number 10. I feel like we've already pulled that one though.
That would be The Color Purple. Yep. So gotta go again.
Number 21.
1941. Sorry, Giuseppe.
For 4 points.
For 4 points on the board. All right. Who's up next?
I'm just trying to figure it because I need to get everybody. We've already done Julio. I need to mark off the people we've done. We have not done Brett. We've done Dan, Giuseppe, Heather, Joe Butts, Brad, Paul, Megan, Corey, Eric, Claire. Okay, we don't have Brian, David, or Jason B. All right, I'm gonna fine tune this. All right, next up is David P.
David Powell is currently in second place after a commanding lead for most of the time we've been doing this. What movie does he get?
Number 22 on the list.
Number 22, which is I've switched to the wrong one. Whitewater Summer for 4 points. David's going down. It's
happening.
Right. It's going. It's happening.
Next up, generate. All right, next up is Brian Scuttle.
Brian is currently in the lead with 50 points. What movie is he going to be watching and drafting for Binge Movies? Blah!
Number 13.
We have to do that one again because somebody else got Mission Impossible.
Ooh, oh shit. Number 2.
Give that fucking guy E.T. Have you ever seen Stone Cold E.T.?
No, I don't want to.
It's a guy who puts an E.T. mask on.
Huh.
He has an E.T. bedspread, I believe, wrapped around him. Like a cape.
Okay.
Then he drives to a drive-through. This is early internet humor. Yeah, not early internet, like early 2000s, maybe early 2010s internet humor. And he goes to the drive-through and he does Stone Cold Steve Austin's voice, but he refers to himself as Stone Cold E.T. So they'll be like, Stone Cold E.T. wants some chicken tenders and somebody mustard. But he's in the mask. And the juxtaposition here between the lovable face of E.T. and this barking madman pro wrestler persona at somebody to drive through, it's not implicitly funny, but it gets at you in a way that nothing else I've seen on the internet has ever gotten at me.
Has anybody ever told you that your Stone Cold E.T. impression is a dead-on Jesse the Body Ventura impression?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nah, Jesse the Body's he's a little bit more that's like Buffalo Bill. But he's like
a great big fat person.
Wait, is she a real big fat person? Oh, can you help me with this couch?
Speaking of which, my Gen Alpha new niece and nephew that came over, I gave them some movie trivia when I was showing in the podcast studio. And
and they were like, I'm Hannibal pilled.
No,
Hannibal Lecter pilled.
One of the questions I asked is in Silence of the Lambs, what does Buffalo Bill request that, Clary or whatever her name is, put in the basket?
Yeah.
And I could see the wheels turning in their head, and I'm like, fuck me, dude. have you seen the movie? And they're like, oh yeah, I love it. Hannibal Lecter, he's cool. Oh, Heather says, you live by the randomizer, you die by the randomizer. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, she did.
That's right. That's right.
Heather
So
also said, I love Jaws. we got a couple more of these. You know, the thing I'm loving about this stream is that we are in full-blown hack territory.
Yeah. For one person.
The
only one that matters, Heather.
Yeah, the only person who ever bothers to show up for anything.
Faithful, yeah.
My dad didn't come to my Little League games, but Heather Sachs did.
Yeah. I look back at that empty seat and
all I see is Heather.
Heather was there.
With a camcorder, taping it for my dad because he's too busy in corporate America. Yeah. Did it used to be Peter Pan? Probably. We'll find out.
Love it.
Could just be a brain tumor.
So we were at this point, we're recycling, right? At this point.
Well, we need Jason B needs a choice.
Oh, he's the last one. Jason B's it.
Are we sure he's it?
I'm pretty sure. Let me see. How many
we got Julio, we got Brett.
Okay. Julio,
we got
Brett.
Dan, we got Giuseppe, we got Heather, we got Butts, we got Brad, we got Paul, we got Megan, we got Corey, Eric, Claire, David P, and Brian. Jason B is the last to pick, but he's got a lot of movies left on the board. What's the movie he's going to be drafted on auto draft?
He got a 1 again. Too late. Number 12.
Number 12. Superman Returns for 8 points. Again, there's bonuses could be applied to any one of these motion pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That Superman Returns, I had a hard time categorizing this. I'm going to ask Heather. Heather, have you revisited Superman Returns? Yep, you've already done it for the Binge Movies Challenge recently.
I'm surprised she didn't save that one for last. Brandon Routh.
Maybe she likes it.
Maybe.
I like it. Heather zigs when you think she's going to zag. Last year, not this year. Oh, okay. So she watched it last year. Okay. What the fuck was I even going to say? What was I going to say about all that?
Well, we're on round 2. That's all I know.
Fuck, man. What was I going to say? What was I going to say about Superman Returns?
You're going to say your favorite part is when he gets shot in the eyeball?
Oh, yeah. So my question is, where would you categorize that in the store?
Ooh, so
because as you see here, I have it under our drama section because it's not an action movie. Our action movies are categorized, of course, by this beautiful yellow.
Okay.
Our classics are this nice slate gray.
Okay.
Family pictures are orange.
Okay.
And our comedies are this deeper blue. So horror is obviously green and so forth and so on. So the question then becomes, where does Superman Returns go in the video store?
Well, where does any comic book movie go? Where does the Avengers go?
Well, see, okay, this is how we're going to end this stream, and I want your guys' feedback, and I'll get to your comment very quickly here, Heather. The majority of comic book movies, when video stores were still around, were probably put in the action adventure section, right? But they've become such a subgenre unto themselves that you would classify them probably in their own section. You'd probably, we don't do that here at Binge Movies, but if there were other video stores, they would probably just have a superhero section, or maybe even an MCU section, a DC section. And you just have everything in there, like all the Batman versions, all the Superman versions, all of the everything that's, even the old timey stuff, because there's so much of it now.
Yeah.
And this is what Heather says, and then I'll get to you, Pete.
Yeah.
Her take on Superman Returns is trying too hard to be 78, and so it's too inert to be an action movie, which I agree. It's more of a moody character study, probably a drama. And she says you probably have them in their own section, per my thoughts, because so the normies could find them. Yeah, I think you would just want them consolidated. What do you think, Pete?
I personally categorize my VHSs by genre and then alphabetically, and I group them in with my sci-fi and horrors. Sci-fi horrors, all one comic book goes innately into sci-fi. I consider them sci-fi.
Oh,
It's imagine if it was, imagine if it was a scientific experiment that turned Superman into that. That's sci-fi.
Well, he's an alien, so
Sure.
I can see that. Yeah,
Homelander though, and yeah, you're right. There are aliens. Half of them are aliens.
See, so there's how I personally categorize things, and then how the video store categorizes things. Okay, and Heather's got a great point here.
Yes,
we've got. Oh, I hit the wrong one. Sorry, Heather. Mutants, aliens, sure, but then Batman. What do you do about Batman?
He goes in noir.
Oh, well, you're gonna have a noir category. Is noir a subcategory of drama, though?
No, it goes. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I guess.
Because I bet you,
so.
I'd have to pull the tape, but I bet you if you pulled Batman, and this depends on which version. Like I'm talking about 1989, it may say action drama. Because what they did for those superhero movies, and even the Superman 78, that may actually even be action comedy, Superman 78. But they would essentially took the format of a drama, and then they just made it adapted a superhero story to it. Whereas now, like the innovation, I guess, of the MCU was they just did kind of a straight adaptation of the material and then let the genre be whatever it was.
Sure.
Kind of. Yeah. I think we're so far now into basically for my personal collection of VHS tapes, I have sections, which is you can't really behind me. I have sections. And those sections are, I think horror is separated from science fiction. Science fiction is its own category, but I have a lot of science fiction tapes. So, but I can see putting horror and thriller together because they're kind of adjacent genres. Science fiction, I'd have in its own category. Action and adventure is kind of a duo because we don't really have adventure movies anymore.
Yeah, it's few and far between.
Right. So there used to be action movies and then there were adventure movies but it's basically when people say action, it's all the same thing now. We don't have there's no jungle movies. But Heather says that even her thrillers have subcategories like spy thrillers. What about erotic thrillers? Do you have erotic thrillers? That's a whole.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Like you have I just watched it. Glenn Close, Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, Fatal Attraction, Sleeping with the Enemy.
Sliver.
Killer Instinct.
What's the other one?
What Lies Beneath.
Ooh, she has an entire book case full of erotic thrillers. Yeah. What's the one that Paulza was going on about? With what's her face, Sharon Stone.
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. Yeah.
I go about. I have like 5 sections. I have the family section, which is a parent, of course. It can't be.
See, I think now to put in that real quick. I think family is just anything that's basically rated G or maybe some PG stuff. You just throw it in there.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to be mixing up Brave Little Toaster with I don't know.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I have but I have like if you're gonna show it essentially only to children or for the nostalgia factor, it's in the family section.
Yeah.
So like E.T. technically is a family movie, but that is not a kids movie by any chance.
Okay, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How old does somebody need to be before they watch E.T.?
Well, it's an interesting point you asked there, Jason, because I was shown E.T. at a very young age, and I was scarred for many years, much of my life.
Yeah.
My parents thought I loved E.T. because I have no idea why. They bought me E.T. dolls and they put it in my room when I got home from school. I would hide it because I was terrified of the fucking thing, and then it would show up randomly because they're like, "Oh, how'd this get under the bed?"
Yeah.
Right on my pillow. I hated it for years, and I confronted my fears on the show and watched it for the show, and it's a delightful movie. I love it now.
Did you cry?
I cried out of fear many times in my life for that movie, but no, as an adult watching it, no, I did not. I it was more of a breakthrough moment for me. But man, it's a really good movie. And Heather said she saw it first run at age 13.
What was it like at 13?
I was 4, I think, when I watched it for the first time.
13 feels like a good age to see that movie first run, because you're like a little bit older than Elliot, but you still remember what it's like to be, you're like Elliot's brother's age, basically. So you still kind of remember what it's like to be that age, and you're not like, yeah, there you go. Let me throw that up on the screen real quick.
Yeah.
Heather says, considering that my folks took me to Jaws first run at 8, it was appropriate. Yeah. Well, yeah, we could get into the whole the whole kit and caboodle there of the rating system at the time. But E.T. is an interesting one. I'm not gonna play stupid here. So that one's already done. That episode's already done, and so you'll be hearing it very, very shortly. Brand new season of Binge Movies coming to you starting next Tuesday. Assuming that I release this to anybody else who isn't here, I haven't decided that yet. I probably will, though. And it will be terrible to listen to back because it's been pure chaos, but I don't care. That's what live streams are for. Yeah, and so we're going to talk about that. It's going to be in our Spielberg episode. It's a very good episode. That's with B. Dizzle again from We Watched the Thing, who's a filmmaker, works in the film industry himself, and so that's pretty cool. This is now a trilogy of great filmmakers. We've talked about I've done like 3. This is the 3rd filmmaker in a row I've done with B. Dizzle, and I don't remember the other 2. I don't remember things like this anymore because there's too much on my mind, too much going in.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, those are good episodes. Check them out. The previous B. Dizzle episodes, you can find them at bingemovies.podbean.com, wherever you find delightful podcasts. You can support us on patreon.com/bingemovies. You can find us on X at Binge Movies, on Instagram at Binge Movies Lives, at Letterboxd at Binge Movies. And Pete, where can the fine folks, the internet, find you if they're listening to this on tape delay?
Go to YouTube. That's where we would prefer you watch us. It's youtube.com/@middleclassfilmclass.
Yeah. I feel like having one more topic of discussion. What would you like to talk about, Pete? I just feel like being extra generous because I'm behind on all of this.
Heather says, tell Tyler he pussed out on Saturday.
That's somebody from somebody else's show, but that's really funny.
I will. I'll just give you a really brief thing, and then I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So Heather is one of our Patreon members. She's subscribed. Yeah. She's very generous, and it was her time to pick a movie for us to watch, and she chose the Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah.
And first watch for us, we're a bunch of millennials, and we watched it, and there's an equal parts, holy shit, this is rough, and then other equal parts really like deep belly laughs about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Very much of the era, blah, 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 blah. I don't hold anything, no grudge against it. When Heather came onto the show, when she did probably 15 minutes with us, we zoomed her in, so she's on the show, we're talking and this and that. And Tyler's, oh yeah, it was really funny. Oh, that part was great. That was great. Okay, see you later, Heather. And then we're like, all right, Tyler, give us your review. And he's like, you know what? This movie fucking sucks. More or less. I'm abbreviating, but that was the vibe. And Heather had to go to dinner, so she's like, I'll listen later. And she watched later. She's like,
he was intimidated.
That Tyler boy, he ain't right,
Yeah.
Sorry, like I don't know what to say.
So
if he meets a real woman in the real world, it's not a waifu. He doesn't know how to handle it.
Bingo.
That's why he likes those anime women, because they don't have brains.
All right, so here's my question for you.
Yeah.
This is an array of new release movies: Mandy, The Void, and Psycho Gorman.
Yeah.
What do you think about modern movies? And these are not boots. These are direct from the vendor. They're authorized resale through Broke Horror Fam on Witter Entertainment.
Yeah, yeah. They're licensed. They're properly licensed.
Yes, properly licensed. They're legit. They got the clamshell and everything. I love them. They're one of my favorite things to see on the shelf. But of course, it's shot in 16:9 or whatever the basic aspect ratio you're getting, and you're put onto 4:3. what's your thought on that? You know anything about the technology? I've heard the term pan and scan, but I'm not
Yeah.
really sure exactly what that is.
Well, pan and scan was one method of trying to deal with the fact that you didn't have full frame on VHS, and there's like a combination of factors that go into it. I'm by no means an expert on this, but there's a combination of factors. So by the time that VHS rolled around, people had been used to watching movies either on the big screen or on television, and when movies would happen to play on TV. And that went on for 30 years in the history of television before VHS became more ubiquitous. And so people actually actively rebelled against properly formatted, properly aspect ratioed films.
Interesting.
There was even when DVDs came out, they came out with two versions of movies in DVD, which people
I'm
forget
aware of
about
that
this.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
we
had
had
a
the
lot of those.
full screen version and then the widescreen version. And the widescreen, which is just proper formatting, was seen as like a novelty almost, because we were so conditioned to watching full screen movies, even if it butchered the movie, even if it butchered the scene. So one of the technologies they came up with was, if you've got three characters standing next to each other, there's a classic scene in Ghostbusters, of course, I'm going to reference that, where they first go down to the library and a bookcase crashes behind them, and you're looking at all three of them in the theatrical version. And Venkman's in the center of the frame. Egon is to his left, our left, his right, and Aykroyd, Ray, is to his right, his left, our right. And the thing falls, and you see all three of them, and there might be a medium shot or a two shot where it just goes to Ray and Peter, but they don't really react. They kind of jump, and then Venkman goes, "This ever happened to you before?" And Ray shakes his head like this, doesn't say anything, and he goes, "First time?" And he very slowly nods his head. For years, you didn't see that because it was just tight on Venkman, and you didn't even know who the fuck he was talking to, and because it was so tight, you didn't even fully see the bookshelf fall. You kind of saw it, and then you heard it, but you didn't. It was just butchered.
Yeah.
So what Pan and Scan did was it essentially kind of digitally and artificially would pan the camera, shift the frame over, and so it'd go from because essentially you're only getting a third of the frame, depending on how zoomed in it was. It would then manually shift to the other third of the frame, either side, up, down, left, right, whatever. But that's still not giving you, like, for instance, that the gag there is that they're underselling this thing because they don't want to react as if it's a ghost yet, because they don't have any evidence of ghost. And Venkman is progressively getting closer and closer to empirical evidence that ghosts exist with these two guys who already believe in them, and blah 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 blah. So but yeah, there was an outcry, like Heather was saying, about the black bars. People felt that they were being cheated. They felt like people, at least I remember distinctly, people making the argument that they weren't seeing the whole movie, when in actuality you were actually for the first time seeing the whole movie.
Yeah, what you're really not getting is you're not getting the full use out of your viewing
your TV. Yes.
Yeah, you have the brand new 30-inch
32-inch TV or 27-inch. Yeah.
And you're like, I'm wasting 4 of these good 32-inch TV, screens.
Yeah. Honestly, that was
I remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, on a 32-inch television, I can kind of see that, because if you're just in widescreen, like on a 27-inch TV, it's still the proper aspect ratio, but it's kind of small. But as TVs got bigger and they got cheaper, and we switched more to digital and DVD and whatnot, because if you remember some of the first DVD players, they had a zoom button.
Oh yeah.
So that you could, even if you had a widescreen disc, you could just hit zoom, and it would effectively become a pan and scan, essentially, and you do it yourself. So that's just people being stupid.
Yeah.
How do I and now is the question, how do I feel about modern movies being put into standard aspect ratio?
Yeah, just in general. I mean, we see it now on, you'll see a properly formatted like YouTube video or a clip from a movie, and then somebody puts it into a short and they have to now put it into a vertical format that's going to be appropriate for a phone. So you see this automatic sort of frame shifting as a character is running across the screen.
Well, it's even more fucked up than that. So like are those in 4:9, the tapes that you have?
I don't know what specific. I want to say it's 4:3.
Or 4:3.
Yeah, 4:3 full frame. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like to me, that's a novelty, right? So if you're buying a novelty, you're buying you're buying a novelty. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're getting. It's not you're not buying a 2022 movie on VHS because you want the optimal viewing experience.
Correct. I want the vibe.
You want the vibe. What bothers me more is what I'm seeing now, and this is kind of what you're talking about, which is the like somebody's gone into Back to the Future. This has been going around TikTok for the last couple of months, and they've done AI auto generate the top and bottom, so that now it fits vertically.
Oh, that.
So they didn't take like a 35 millimeter open matte source, because if you did that, you'd have wires and you'd have the boom mic and everything else. What they've done is they've put it into basically, Photoshop.
Yeah.
And they've asked it to digitally fill the empty space. So the computer is assuming, okay, well, if there's a tree there, it's creating what it thinks the rest of the tree would look like in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in fairness to the technology, it's actually kind of seamless. It does look like
impressive.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like shit, right? Like a lot of AI art does, but it was never shot that way. It wasn't shot vertically. So that to me is also signaling, because I'm going through and I'm looking at the comments, and I'm seeing two types of comments about that. Well, three. I'm seeing old people like me be pissed off about it. I'm seeing young people who, with certain movies like Back to the Future, are like I'm seeing young people like Alpha, Gen Z going, they don't make them like this anymore. Like Back to the Future's, so that movie still plays to that generation, which is nice.
It works. It still works.
Yeah, it still works. And then I'm seeing, I've always liked the movie, but now I really like it. Because their whole life has been lived vertically.
Mm-hmm.
So like just the orientation of movies, what we've known for 100 years of filmmaking plus, doesn't make any sense to them, because they've only ever had it on these screens. They consume all their content in something like this. So I think the future of movies is probably vertical. And it's probably whatever 16:9 or whatever the phone screen is. Unfortunately,
I think it's 11:16 or something like that.
Yeah, maybe like that. Yeah,
it's funny too, because even within our generation of the prevalence of having a camera and a video camera on your phone, people used to shame you if you didn't record in landscape. It'd be like, turn your phone sideways, record a landscape, and then you'd get this, and everyone's like, "Well, your eyes are side to side. You need to have the camera like this." And now it becomes TikTok is formatted like that, so everybody goes vertical.
Correct.
Very strange.
It's very strange. Yeah, the way things have this happens to every generation, but the way that you don't ever expect the river to bend the way it does, the river of time, and it's bending in ways I never foresaw. So it's very strange. It's watching people go, now I can watch this movie.
Now we're talking, dude.
Right.
My cell phone. Hell yeah.
You're talking about Back to the Future? Now you can watch it? Because it felt outdated, but now you can watch it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one more disparaging comment about Tyler, because I'll reach my quota after today.
Okay. All right.
After this one. So we had this last week on the show, his streaming pick. He said, I tried to watch a new movie. It was gonna be one you guys talked about a long time ago. I couldn't finish it because it fucking sucked. It was The Whale. And I watched it for the first 25 minutes and I turned it off. And I made some joke about, whatever, something, and he dies at the end. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I know that." I'm like, "How do you know? You haven't watched the movie?" I watched the ending on TikTok.
Oh yeah, right.
He already had watched all the best scenes on TikTok, so he
lumbered it.
Yeah, he got just enough to be angry about it. And then he he watched all the cool scenes and he goes, well, the first 20 minutes aren't nothing like this. What's all this setup? That's lame. Get to the good stuff. And then he turned the fucking movie off. So it's the brain rot is getting to
brain rot. I mean, all right. Let's. Can I get you for 5 more minutes?
Yeah, as long as you want. I'm here.
Okay. In my mind, when I think of brain rot, some of it's funny, whatever, because it's so strange. It's so out there. But let me back up. Let me be verbose.
Okay.
Let me set it up. What we're seeing like generation internet 1.5, where we were sort of the generation that we remember before the internet and after the internet.
Yeah.
So it's been a part of our lives, most of our lives, but not all of our lives.
Yeah.
And our most formational years, there was no internet, period, for most of us, you and I. And then it came along a little bit later. And you're a little bit younger than me, but it's still true for you.
Yeah.
So then there's like the younger millennials and older Gen Z, and those kids, they were raised on the internet, but the internet was kind of something different than what it has become. And now you have the young Gen Z and Gen Alpha, these kids who have never known anything but like lols and skibbity toilet and absolute broken brain rot shit, right?
Yeah. And immediate access to any information you want.
24/7, 365.
Yeah.
Never been bored, never.
And always bored simultaneously.
Right. And just constantly stimulated, constant dopamine hits, constant social interaction. The doors, they don't have to go to the woods to find pornos like we did. This old man.
I almost said that. We were in the bush porn era.
Yeah.
We found porn in a creek.
Yeah. Yes. It was always by a creek.
Yeah. It's in a bush somewhere next to a
body of water,
and
you wouldn't even be looking for it. You'd just be outside playing and be like, I'm 11. This is porn. Here it is. How'd this get here? Were there porn storks who went around and just dropped porno off?
They're called bums, all right?
They're called people experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. They're called tramps. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, and I wonder if when you get older and you start looking at stuff like that and you go, well, you're not doing it right. You watch a movie, it has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. And you don't watch the parts of it online because, does that make you a boomer? Did boomers see us going certain ways? And is there an objective way to watch a movie? Or is equally valid to watch just the best parts on TikTok, and the medium of filmmaking is just going to have to change to audiences, the culture? Or are we actually correct and there is an objective way of telling stories and it makes more sense to do it linear and so forth and so on?
Yeah, I'm with Heather. Heather says, you know what? Enjoy things you want. People are different like that. And I agree with that. But I think that the longer an art form is accessible to the general public, the more ways it can be consumed. So, wine used to be basically like it was in France, you could have wine every single meal, whether you're a peasant or royalty.
Yeah.
And then eventually wine became like co-opted into the very fancy wine, and then the mid-range wine, and then the $2 chuck and the space bags. And if you talk to the people who are sommeliers or live their life in Napa, we're drinking wine wrong. Yeah. Although I still enjoy a glass of wine when I want, and I like drinking the whole bottle and then writing a review about how shitty it is. You know, that's my way of enjoying wine.
You only want wine out of a box, is my understanding.
If it's a can, if you can crack it open, it's even better.
But the box, you have to rip it off just to get to the sack. You want to be like Bacchus, but it's a plastic bag, Yeah.
So I mean, it's the evolution.
There's a Bacchanalia about you.
Yeah,
you're like a little goat boy. I could if we put you give you the little horns and you danced around a little bit, I could see it.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a little Venn diagram, Peter Pan. I don't know, something there. We'll explore that later. But I can objectively say that if you're watching clips of a movie, the finale of it, and then you watch the movie start to finish, it ruins a part of it for
100%.
for you.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even think that's it's like opening a novel and skipping to the very end and go, oh, that's who the killer is. Okay, now I'll start all over again.
Yeah.
It's like it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Heather says we should paint you purple and put you in the LA Olympic opening ceremony is Bacchus.
6-hour drive down there, baby.
And you can be part of the satanic panic that we're currently living through. Some
Yeah.
things never die. So look, I am somebody who would say this is going to date me and tell you what I studied undergrad, but the medium is the message, right? So how you communicate is equally or more important than what you're communicating most of the time. So film is a medium. It is a method of telling stories, and it can be true to life stories, it could be documentary, it could be, whatever. It could be pure fiction, it could be fantasy, it could be all these different genres, but it is a vessel for telling story, to visually tell a story, primarily visually. If that vessel, that medium, has a specific way in which I think it functions best, which is to, like all stories, but is to visually hook an audience and to get the audience to buy in and to reach the ambient temperature of whatever that movie is, hopefully, so that their emotions can be affected by it, and they can be thrilled by it, and they can have some sort of physiological response as if the events of the story are real, even though they're usually not. And even if they are documentary, they're not happening in real time. So it's not real to you, so that you have some kind of impact and maybe gather some kind of subtext out of it and so forth and so on. And most of that goes back to whatever your film theory, storytelling theory mind is, typically goes to a 3-act structure, typically has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there are specific points you need to have in those that beginning, that middle, and that end. And once you start fucking with that and you start just dabbling and treating movies like buffets, where I'm taking a little out of the middle, like you said, a little out of the end, and
dessert first.
Yeah, you're not engaging with the medium in the way it's intended to be engaged. So I think what it would be more helpful to us, if we're going to continue on this path, which I think is inevitable, is I think we need to start differentiating not just movies, but different types of movies. And I don't mean genres. I mean, I think we need to start coming up with new terminology. That if a movie is completely and entirely made by human beings, and with maybe the assistance of some computer for digital effects or whatever, but it's people driving that's one type of thing. If AI is the driver on it, that's a different type of thing. If it's meant to be consumed linear, that's a certain type of movie. If it's a non-linear experience,
experimental, whatever.
That's a different type of thing. So if you're making movies that are just going to be meant to be consumed in any order on social media, and you're completely doing away with linear storytelling, I'm not opposed to that.
Sure.
But that's fine. That's an equally valid form. But that's not the same thing as linear. That's not the intention of the people who made The Whale. It's like, that I want some kid to be like live streaming the ending and then have it go viral on TikTok, as a meme. Like, that's not what was intended. So if that's how if you're only going to consume media through chopped up bits and pieces and through memes, I would say that your opinion is not invalid. But it's also not necessary.
It needs to be taken with a grain of salt. And a qualifier.
That's probably the way to put it. It needs to be qualified.
Yeah, I thought of a better analogy than the wine one. So more than a movie guy, I'm a car guy.
Yeah.
And as personal automobile ownership is now to the pinnacle that it ever has been. Everybody's got a car or cars in their household. We have multiple cars here and only 3 people that can drive them because I'm a car nut.
Yeah.
So once you take the art form, take the lowriders, people see the lowrider and they go, "Oh, you ruined that perfectly good car." Perhaps you did. Perhaps you're using it for a different intended purpose. You know,
Yeah,
it's not, It's not the manufacturer's intended purpose, but it's now your purpose. You've taken that medium or that vessel, you've turned it into something different. There is a point, and you've all seen this, where you see like a import vehicle, like a BMW or some sort of Honda Civic or something, where they've dumped it on non-adjustable suspension, a static suspension, and the rear wheels are tucked in like this.
Yeah.
And the lip of the wheel is stretched, the tire's stretched too tight. And you can see the lip coming out. They call that hella flush or flush. That style objectively ruins the car.
Yeah.
It is, the suspension does not design to drive that way. It is not safe to drive that. If you talk to somebody and they say, "Oh no, this is the superior setup," that person eats their boogers.
Yeah, right.
If you talk to them and you go, "Yeah, I know it's bad for the car, but it looks cool, doesn't it?" And you're like, "Okay, at least you can acknowledge it." That's all I'm asking for. Acknowledge the difference, and put yourself in a different category. That's all.
I agree. I would say don't put yourself in a position to don't review movies you haven't seen in full. That's all. That's all I would say. Don't form your opinion before you have seen it yourself.
Yeah.
That would be my word of advice to the internet is I understand you can have a general sense of a movie, like, because that's just being a human being, right? So I see something like a trailer for Madam Web and I go, that's not for me. Right? Not for me.
Yeah.
That doesn't look very good. And not for me.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But if I then said, here's my 10,000 word essay on why Madam Web is the end of human civilization, but I've never watched it. Even if I'm right by accident because I've watched a lot of movies and I know what makes a good movie and I can tell by the trailer that ain't it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
So I don't have the authority. I don't have again, Aristotle, man, the rhetoric. The first thing you have to establish with your audience is credibility, pathos. Why are you an expert? Why should we be listening to you? And if the answer is because I think you should, like that's not a good enough answer because I'm really upset about something.
And by the way, I also haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, right.
It's like you're immediately setting a standard of like an anti-pathos.
Correct.
And you can legitimately say, because I know people that watch the first 20 minutes of The Whale and they turn it off because it was grotesque to them. For various reasons. Some because they felt like it painted the the obese culture in a poor light. Some of them felt that it was just shock value for the sake of shock value. Some people thought it was exploitative. But you can't then say this movie sucks because I watched 20 minutes of it. You could say the first 20 minutes turned me off, and here's why.
I didn't finish it.
Yeah, I didn't finish it. So, if I ever do, I'll give you another full review of it. So
I can't review the movie because I didn't finish it. I can only tell you that that is my review. My review is I didn't finish the movie.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine, right? You have the choice to not finish a movie.
Yeah.
But that's not
you can't speak about the quality of the movie at that point.
No. Yeah. Don't watch shit on TikTok and then be like, this stinks. And also, I'm sorry, but like watching something on a lens, through a lens, through a lens, through a lens, you're watching something being projected onto a screen that's bouncing back into the phone camera that is then being projected onto your phone screen. You're like 4 dimensions removed from the movie. And we all know the difference between we've all had an experience where we watched something and just our mood was different between viewings, and it completely changed our experience of the movie. I just had that the other night where I was watching. I've watched When Harry Met Sally, I don't know, let's say half a dozen times. Okay.
Yeah, love it.
Right. Last 3 times I had 3 completely different experiences, and I'm wrapping this up.
Okay.
First time I was like, man, 4 stars, great movie. Second time I watched it, I was like, man, this isn't very good. This is too long. And this isn't funny. And I don't give a shit about any of this. And I don't know, 2 stars maybe. Right?
Yeah.
I just watched it maybe 2 nights ago. 4.5 stars.
Love
it. What?
Welcome back.
What was different about me this time than the last time than was different to me not the first time, but the first time I scored it or whatever. I don't fucking know.
Well, you fundamentally changed. Life is molded you.
Yeah, I'm in a different set of circumstances. I can't necessarily point to, so that's why all of this is so subjective, and despite turning up the volume for a show, for entertainment purposes, it's all subjective. It doesn't, but you also have to be aware of what your own subjective experience is and how that may or may not bias you, right? So if I am going to say, hey man, I turned on Middle Class Film Class, I think that podcast isn't very good. Those guys are just hack shit, man. They're just terrible. Not funny. A lot of
anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Pizza was going on about Zionist and globalist.
Zion.
All this kind of stuff. And,
birthright, stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Stealing babies and eating gold and whatever, and all this weird stuff. He keeps referring to people as vermin. And how is that typical? Do you listen to it? Well, I had it on my phone at very low volume in a different room while I was taking a shower, and I could only make out every 3 words or so that they were saying, but it sounded pretty shitty to me. That I think is kind of the internet and people in general now is we have, I think, too much access, and we don't slow down enough to stop and think and to breathe. We're just trying to get our opinions out there as fast as possible, and we're forming them too quickly
before we even finished. Like you can't form an opinion about it, and you're already in the second act, and you're like, all right, this is going to be a 3-star movie.
Yeah, and without even assessing your own bias. Without even assessing, like, hey, man, I went to see this movie and I was in a really foul mood.
Yeah.
And so this cheery, chippy, plucky bullshit is going to feel like bullshit because I'm in a bad mood. Or that's a 4-star movie because I went into it with a really bad mood and it lifted my spirits.
Yeah.
But if I saw it on a normal day, it might be a 3-star movie,
And very, very rarely in this situation that you just outlined with a theoretical person listening to my show, do they actually get it right, though? Which they, in that situation, dead on. It's perfect summary of life.
What you're saying is you can gather everything you know about Middle Class Film Class by having it on your phone, playing on speaker in a different room at low volume while you're doing something else, taking a shower.
Yeah, it's a lot of cackling and fart and sound effects and things like that, the usual.
A little bit of this, maybe,
almost.
Definitely
some of this. Whoa, Tyler, put that away.
Some of that.
Yeah. There, now I feel at home. We're there.
Yeah.
Thanks for the warm welcome, Basin, by the way. Loading up your soundboard with all these drops. Makes me feel good. That one particularly. I'm glad that you took the time to record that too.
That is actually custom made. How I made it.
Clean and jerking your PR and then just
that's right. Just set up a microphone behind you during a deadlift and
that's right. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you for veering into hack territory for me today. It's been great. You're a great hack.
Thank you. I
try. We've entered Batman Begins into the vault. Apocalypse Now has been eliminated from cinematic history. It's official. I am sad about it, but Batman Begins is a good enough movie. Unfortunately, my ego is bruised and it's battered. But Paul won, and Paul needs to continue. And there is a golden banana hammock. I thought we'd have it out of storage, and the cleaning cycle is not yet fully cleaned. It's allegedly going to be cleaned by this Thursday, hopefully. And when it happens, I will get it back. It'll be delivered here to St. Tropical Akron, Ohio. For those who are listening, if you're still listening, I don't know why, but if you are, the winner of Beach Brawl every year gets a golden banana hammock. It's a golden little bikini. It is a thong. It's very small. It's a plum smuggler. And they become the beach lord. They become the lord of the beach, and they rule over VHS Summer. Pete won last year, and he did lose. Did you win last year or the year before? When did you win?
I won Beach Brawl, and then I think I won Fall. What was it?
Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout. That was it with Julio.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
right, right.
And then I was taken to task by Lindsay Wash.
Yeah, that's right, right. So it lasts for a year. It's separate from anything else. So you had to give it up as we headed into this VHS Summer.
Yeah.
Paul is currently the reigning LMS champion, last movie standing champion. He is going to have to return. And I got to give the people what they want. I got to give them a fight for it all. It is new bananas, same hammock. Last year's champion versus the current champion. Pete, will you, in my stead, take on Paul to regain your banana hammock and become Lord of the Beach once again?
Nothing would make me happier than to go head to head with Paul in that Speedo.
Wait till you see the fucking list I'm going to give you, brother.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
What happened to this guy? Yeah. I just want to put it out there. If you're listening next week or the subsequent weeks of VHS Summer and you're like, what happened to this show? Just remember, you did this to me when you voted against me.
You turned on your
You turned on me. I didn't turn on you. Each and every one of you people did this to yourself.
Oh, son of a bitch.
When you're like, that's his number one, and you're screaming at your radios.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I'll be laughing and laughing. Oh yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, I know what he's gonna pick there. I know. Whoa, that's what he picked.
That's right.
And just for the road, let me just play this one more time for you, Heather.
Go. She's already
all right. Yeah, tonight was a disaster. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Pete. As always, until next time, binge on.